remember they're changing my voice to understand Revelation. These videos that I'm going to make are key. Okay, some of the most important ones are the scroll and the woman in the basket. Okay, you have to understand what scroll is being opened and what is this cup that's being given to the woman, right? That she's allowed to have, and the blood of the saints in the cup. You need to understand Zechariah 5, Zechariah 9, Zechariah 12, Revelation, okay? Revelation 5, Revelation 17, Revelation 18, to understand Revelation 19, where Christ, I have come back in the martial arts spirit, right? Through the spirit of drawing on God with focused moral intensity as the King of Kings, who only comes to the King of martial arts, okay? You know, at the end of the Bible, okay, is drawn through me the gate, okay, and into the world, okay? And what has happened is when that occurred, okay, people were not doing what they're supposed to be doing, as the Bible basically said, right? Narrow is the way to life, broad is the way to destruction. And my entrance into heaven obviously was secured since I was born. And people were supposed to rally and obey God through me. They are now late, but they still have a chance. They just should have done it before, especially here in California. I don't think it's a coincidence that people that worship the devil have allowed California to fall into ill repair. So when the floods hit, for whatever reason, we'll say, it caused so much damage and it took lives, and all these people who were sitting there doing nothing while I'm being cheated out of lots of money, okay? You know, lots of them have to pay money, right, for the damages for the flood, okay? Lots of them are being used as sex slaves. They're dealing with the devil, has been exposed as evil, and they've been exposed as idiots. At this point, I think everyone who's a gang stalker knows beyond any doubt that they're a dumbass. The governing class families feel a lot of regret. They know what they're doing is stupid. A lot of them are old, about to meet their maker after a life of never obeying God through me. And it's all coming together nicely. And God has vindicated me, as Isaiah said, in so many ways. Okay. Revelation 17. Babylon, the prostitute on the beast. One of the seven angels who had the seven bowls came and said to me, "Come, I will show you the punishment of the great prostitute who sits by many waters. With her the kings of the earth committed adultery, and the inhabitants of the earth were intoxicated with the wine of her adulteries." Then the angel carried me away in the spirit into a wilderness. There I saw a woman sitting on a scarlet beast. Okay, the beast and the basket are connected. The words are also similarly spelled. That was covered with blasphemous names and had 7 heads and 10 horns. The woman was dressed in purple and scarlet and was glittering with gold, precious stones, and pearls. She held a golden cup in her hand filled with abominable things and the filth of her adultery. So there's all kinds of connections to what the stones are, right? There's connections to the righteous. The righteous are like compared to glittering stones in the New Jerusalem. Okay, that's one explanation for it, right? Jesus said there's many mansions for certain righteous people. There's all kinds of explanations like that, right? You know, they're jewels on God's crown, right? Okay, the righteous are given a crown. They're compared to a crown as well, and the jewels on the crown, okay, the precious stones. But here we're concerned with who is this woman on the beast? Again, and the other part I talked about, Zechariah 5, the woman in a basket. Then the angel who was speaking to me came forward and said to me, "Look up and see what is appearing." I asked, "What is it?" He replied, "It is a basket." And he added, "This is the iniquity of the people throughout the land." Then the cover of lead was raised, and there in the basket sat a woman. He said, "This is wickedness." And he pushed her back into the basket and pushed his lead cover down on it. Then I looked up, and there before me 2 women with the wind in their wings. They had wings like those of a stork, and they lifted up the basket between heaven and earth. "Where are they taking the basket?" I asked the angel who was speaking to me. They replied, "To the country of Babylonia, to build a house for it. When the house is ready, the basket will be set there in place." And the comment says Babylonia is Shinar in Hebrew, right? Shine, Ra, shine. We can get all kinds of wordplay there. Okay, her sin, Har's sin. Har is a name for Horus, right? She sinned against the Son of God. There's a lot there that's interesting, but I want to keep this simple because I think a lot of people struggle with a lot of my explanations when I go too much into detail and the wordplay gets confusing. Okay, magic spell, it confuses. Sometimes it can help you think more clearly about what's going on. Sometimes it confuses you. You need to break it down. It's a pain in the ass. I don't like the wordplay. So we see that the woman is wickedness, okay, and she's committed adultery. She's especially people, prostituting themselves to God. So what does it mean to prostituting themselves to other gods? What does it mean to prostitute themselves to other gods? Well, those shrine prostitutes that literally had sex with people in the spirit of other gods. There was male prostitutes, had homosexual sex with people. Transvestite prostitutes, believe it or not, that's what they referred to as. They're cross-dressers or whatever that made them be referred to that way. There was all kinds of sinners. So they're prostituting themselves to liberalism, conservatism, libertarianism, okay, to the churches that are allowed in this world. They're prostituting themselves to other war spirits, okay. The Lord is a warrior, the Lord is his name. It's the warrior spirit of God clashing with the nations of the world. All the nations surrounded me, but in the name of the Lord, I struck them down. They're globalist prostitutes, they're nationalist prostitutes. They're people who aren't in the spirit of universal pinpointed moral precision in the divine order. So her adulteries have everything to do with how Nimrod, who was a mighty warrior before the Lord, was betrayed by the women of the land who were not mighty warriors before the Lord. Those who remained in Babylon after he's gone and the righteous were killed there, okay, they were not in the spirit of God. They were in the spirit of whatever idolater, would allow them to live in the flesh, so to speak, as the walking dead, right? If they, paid homage to their deities and did things their way and worshiped them and followed their kings and fought in their armies and things like this, okay, and part of their infrastructure. So they're part of the infrastructure and putting the infrastructure of the nations before God. So when I say rally to me and no one does, they're prostituting themselves to other gods. When I say to attractive women, present yourself to be choosing, I need a suitable helper, and none of them do, they're prostituting themselves to other gods. When there's a bunch of porn stars and eugenicists and assorted scum in social clubs, fraternities, and who fraternizes with who and so on and so forth, okay, and they say, no, we can't let you be seen as above us, they're prostituting themselves to other gods to the extreme. They even went to the point where they said it that way, where they made it clear that their intention was to get females to worship them and their trickle-down pedophile and pedo-aligned and child molester-aligned rape by deception cult spirits, okay? Play this part the last couple minutes back several times till you understand what that means. That part is key in Revelation. It's key in why people are sealed in hell. The word seal is a play on words for last E, right? Last E, evil, emasculate, effeminate, crazy, nutty, shady, all the E words, okay? It's a play on words for lay ease, right? And they're easy, it's easy for the devil to get in their drawers. I mean, there's a lot of things there. It's also a play on words for seal. Who is breeding with who had everything to do with why people are sealed in hell. Sexual immorality, right? It says right there in Revelation toward the end, it says outside the gates are the cowardly and on and on. It says the sexually immoral are outside the gates. Okay, we see it early in Revelation where Jezebel, who leads the Christians, the so-called Christians, into sexual immorality is cited, and eating food sacrificed to idols, right? So they, again, there's all kinds of connections there. Part of what people do, they bless the food in the name of the idol or in the name of God, and that's part of what they're referring to. The food also refers to various ideas in life, right? Consuming the bread of wickedness and idleness and injustice and so on and so forth. Okay, bear with me. Their pitiful attempts to make it so I seem bipolar or something, while they're fuming me with over 22 witnesses on record, are no match for the power of God. So we see in Revelation 17, verse 5, the name written on her forehead was a mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of prostitutes and the abominations of the earth. It directly refers to your reproductive cycles, spiritually and physically. Okay, mind, body, soul, and spirit. If you don't look at this in terms of mind, body, soul, and spirit, and work the angles, right? Angels is a play on words for angles. Then you're going to miss the point of the story, the point of the book. I saw that the woman was drunk with the blood of God's holy people, the blood of those who bore testimony to Jesus. When I saw her, I was greatly astonished. Then the angel said to me, why are you astonished? I will explain to you the mystery of the woman and of the beast she rides, which has the 7 heads and 10 horns. The beast which you saw once was, now is not, yet and yet will come up out of the abyss and go to its destruction. to its destruction. The inhabitants of the earth whose names have not been written in the book of life from the creation of the world will be astonished when they see the beast, because it once was, now is not, and yet will come. This calls for a mind with wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 hells on which the woman sits. They are also 7 kings. 5 have fallen, one is, and the other has not yet come. But when he does come, he must remain only for a little while. Okay, so basically, there's all kinds of interpretations that get skewed. Some people, try to pinpoint exactly what they're getting at. I tell you right now, it does not matter what they're getting at. What matters is you understand the general picture. Because a lot of this stuff also, unless you read it again every day for hours and hours a day, it's going to slip your mind anyway. Okay? You need to understand the moral structure of the world. So the heads and the horns are both kings. We'll get to that. Okay? They say hills and kings. Hills as opposed to a mountain. What's the difference between a hill and a mountain? A mountain is more majestic and glorious. A hill is just a hill. Okay? It's the general rule of thumb, right? Mount Horeb, Mount Zion, Mount Sinai, right? What hills do you remember from the Bible? So that's a key difference. God comes down to do battle from Mount Zion. Okay? So the whore is a mother of prostitutes, abominations, right? People who do witchcraft, liberals, conservatives, right? People who are mere conformists, right? They're an abomination to God because they were pushovers. Them and their family quickly said, we're from this group, and they separated themselves from universal pinpoint and moral precision and cheated me out of my right to lead. Anyone who really thinks it through, okay, can understand how despicable it is to cheat me out of my right to lead. Okay, so the most righteous person ever says, rally to me so I can do great righteous things and convey the Spirit of God. And instead they come into their despicable racist spirits, their LGBT spirits, feminists, nationalist spirits, globalist spirits, spirits of being concerned with their career more than anything else. I mean, just horrible, horrible people doing horrible things, okay? Now, let's look at this wordplay is key too. The word is like the word sword, right? They talk about the sword of Scripture. Again, the word is like the word sword, and it's also like the word draws, right? Words is an anagram, right? A word whose letters rearranged make one or more other words. Okay, words is an anagram for sword. And people draw the sword. And the word draw, D-R-A-W, is like W-O-R-D, right? The O and the A are changed, okay? So drawing the sword is the spirit, not some actual physical sword, right? In the beginning was the draw. And the draw, what people are drawing on, was with God. And what they were drawing was God. So in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God, right? And drawing the living water of God, right? The flood. Jesus walking on water, saying, drink from my water, and you'll never thirst again. Blessed are those who are hungry and thirst for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. So they're drawing the spirit of universal pinpointing moral precision, which is a way to describe the principles and the spirit of righteousness, right? It is righteous. It is not you thinking that you're righteous. It's you actually being righteous. If you're underwater and you think you're not, will you be able to breathe? No. And so it is with drawing on the spirit, the water of God. Okay? And again, the at some point they sound like rushing waters. Well, I'm running out of time here, so let's just quickly go through this and we'll get to it in another part. All right, so we go down to Zechariah 9, verse 13. I will bend Judah as I bend my bow and felt with Ephraim. I will rouse your son Zion against your son's Greece and make you like a warrior's sword. Okay. Now, we also get to verse 15. And the Lord Almighty will shield them. They will destroy and overcome with slingstones. They will drink and roar as with wine. They will be full like a bowl used for sprinkling the corners of the altar. Okay, so there's a warrior spirit. The Lord is going to roar, right? His followers are going to roar with wine. So we get to verse damn it. All right. I'm going to make Jerusalem a cup that sends all the inhabitants of the earth, excuse me. So this is Zechariah 12, verse 2. I'm going to make Jerusalem a cup that sends all the surrounding peoples reeling. Judah will be besieged as well as Jerusalem. Okay, so almost have time for me to shoot this real quick. Okay, basically, Zion is a fire, Jerusalem is a cup, and people are drinking the fire that burns their souls and sends them to hell and causes them to burn in hell. We'll get to the next video.